Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Before we dive into today's video, I need to warn you, the stories you're about to hear are 100% real. These aren't creepypastas or urban legends. These are documented cases that happen to real people, right here in the United States. So if you're watching this alone at night, well, you might want to turn on a few extra lights. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because we post true horror stories every week. And if you make it to the end of this video, drop a comment telling me which story disturbed you the most. Trust me, you're going to need to talk about this after. All right, let's get into it. Story 1. The SMURL Family Haunting. Our first story takes us to West Pittston, Pennsylvania, 1974. Jack and Janet SMURL thought they were getting a good deal on a duplex home. It was older, sure, but it had character. They moved in with their 4 young daughters, excited to start their new life. Within weeks, they realized they'd made a terrible mistake. It started small. Toilets flushing on their own, drawers opening and slamming shut in the middle of the night. The family would wake up to a horrible stench filling the house, like rotting flesh, but they could never find the source. Jack tried to rationalize it. Old houses make noises, right? Plumbing issues. Maybe something died in the walls. But then things got worse. Much worse. Dark figures started appearing in the hallway at night. Shadow people watching the children sleep. The girls would scream, pointing at the corner of their room, describing a man standing there, staring at them with hollow eyes. When Jack would rush in, there'd be nothing there. But the terror on his daughters' faces was real. Then the attacks began. Janet was thrown down the stairs by an invisible force. Jack felt hands around his throat, choking him while he slept. Objects flew across rooms. And then, Janet experienced something so horrifying, so violating that she could barely speak about it. She claimed she was being sexually assaulted by an invisible entity, a demon. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a horror movie plot, right? But here's where it gets really disturbing. The SMURLs weren't keeping this quiet. They called in demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, the same investigators from the Conjuring movies. The case was documented, investigated, and reported on by national news. Multiple exorcisms were performed. Priests blessed the house. Nothing worked. The activity only intensified. Neighbors reported seeing dark shapes moving through the windows. Investigators recorded disembodied voices on tape, threatening the family. For 15 years, the SMURL family endured this nightmare. 15 years. They eventually moved, desperate to escape, but Janet SMURL maintained until her death that whatever evil presence haunted that house, it followed them. Even after they left, they could never truly escape it. Let that sink in for a moment. 15 years of living in hell in your own home. Story 2. The Gainesville Ripper. Now, if you thought supernatural horror was terrifying, let me tell you about something even worse. Because this next story, this is about a very real monster. August 1990. Gainesville, Florida. It's the start of a new school year. College students are moving into their apartments, excited about classes, parties, meeting new people. The University of Florida campus is buzzing with energy. But in just 4 days, that energy would turn to pure terror. On August 24th, 2 University of Florida freshmen, 17-year-old Sonia Larson and 18-year-old Christina Powell, didn't show up for their first day of classes. When police performed a wellness check at their off-campus apartment, they found a scene so horrific that several officers had to leave the room. Both young women had been brutally murdered. But the killer, he didn't just kill them. He posed their bodies. He wanted them to be found that way. He wanted to create terror. The next day, August 25th, 18-year-old Krista Hoyt was found dead in her apartment. She was a Santa Fe Community College student. The level of brutality was even worse. I won't go into the details, but the killer was escalating. By now, panic was spreading through Gainesville like wildfire. Students were calling their parents, begging to come home. But the killer wasn't done yet. 2 days later, on August 27th, University of Florida students Tracy Pauls and Manuel Taboada were found murdered in their apartment. 5 students. 4 days. All killed in their own homes, the one place they should have felt safe. The entire town shut down. Students fled by the thousands. Classes were canceled. Those who stayed behind barricaded their doors and windows, sleeping with weapons under their pillows. Nobody knew who would be next. The killer could be anyone. Your classmate, your neighbor, the guy behind you in line at the grocery store. The man responsible was Danny Rolling. He was eventually caught, and during his confession, he revealed something chilling. He said he'd been inspired by horror movies. He wanted to be famous. He wanted people to fear his name. And for a brief, terrible moment, he succeeded. Rolling was executed in 2006, but the scars he left on Gainesville never healed. Parents still warn their college-bound children about what happened. And every August, when students move into their apartments, some of them wonder, could it happen again? Story 3. The Real Conjuring House. All right, for our final story, we're going back to the supernatural. And if you've seen the Conjuring movie, you think you know this story. Trust me, you don't. The real story is so much worse than what they showed in theaters. Harrisville, Rhode Island. Roger and Carolyn Perron found their dream home. An 18th-century farmhouse sitting on 200 acres of beautiful land. It was perfect. They moved in with their 5 daughters, ages ranging from 5 to 12. On their very first night, one of the daughters felt something grab her leg while she was sleeping. That was just the beginning. Within days, the entire family was experiencing things that defied explanation. Phantom smells would fill the house, the scent of rotting flesh, burning hair, sweet perfume. Objects would move on their own. Brooms swept across the floor by themselves. Doors slammed shut with no one near them. The children started seeing things. Apparitions. Ghosts. One daughter described seeing a boy who hung himself in the barn. Another saw a woman in old-fashioned clothing standing at the foot of her bed every single night, just watching. But the worst presence in the house was a woman named Bathsheba Sherman. She'd lived on the property in the 1800s, and locals whispered that she'd been a Satanist. Rumors said she'd sacrificed her own infant child, piercing its skull with a knitting needle. She'd died by hanging herself from a tree in the backyard. And she never left. Carolyn Perron became Bathsheba's primary target. She was attacked repeatedly. Scratches would appear on her body, bruises in the shape of handprints, puncture wounds that doctors couldn't explain. Carolyn would wake up with the sensation of something sitting on her chest, suffocating her. The girls were thrown from their beds at night. They'd wake up on the floor, bruised and terrified. One daughter's leg was broken during an attack, and she swore she'd been lifted into the air and dropped. Finally, in desperation, the Perrons contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren. The demonologists came to the house and conducted a seance, hoping to communicate with the spirits. But according to the family, that seance went horribly, catastrophically wrong. Carolyn became possessed. Her voice changed. She spoke in tongues. Her body contorted in ways that shouldn't be humanly possible. It took multiple people to hold her down while a priest performed an emergency blessing. After that night, the Warrens told the family they needed to leave immediately. But here's the truly tragic part of this story. The Perrons couldn't afford to move. They were trapped. They stayed in that house for 10 more years, enduring nightly torment, physical attacks, and psychological torture. Andrea Perron, one of the daughters, later wrote 3 books about their experience. She maintains to this day that everything that happened to them was absolutely real. And she says the movie The Conjuring only showed a fraction of what they endured. The full story, she claims, is far more disturbing than anything Hollywood could create. The house still stands today. It's been sold multiple times, and nearly every owner has reported paranormal activity. Some say Bathsheba is still there, still angry, still violent. So there you have it. 3 true horror stories that happened right here in the United States. Real families, real trauma, real evil. Now, I want to hear from you. Which story disturbed you the most? The 15-year nightmare of the SMURL family, the brutal murders in Gainesville, or the demonic presence in the Conjuring House? Let me know in the comments below. And listen, if you enjoyed this video and you want more true horror stories, you need to subscribe right now. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. We post videos like this every single week, and trust me, we've got some stories coming up that will absolutely blow your mind. Also, if you're feeling brave, go check out our community tab where we share bonus content, behind-the-scenes research, and viewer horror stories. Some of you have sent in some insane experiences. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe out there. And remember, sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones that are real. I'll see you in the next one.